We live in confusing times.
Valentina, you are completely insane. I am very into it.
It's really hard to meet someone and connect and have it feel easy.
You gotta get back out there sometime.
Yeah, ever since Meredith dumped you, I've been spending $50 a week on Kleenex.
Because you're crying? Or because you're going to town on yourself?
Crying.
Bro.
Both.
From the outset, there was obviously naturally going to be this comparison to How I Met Your Mother. How did you guys personally each of you go to make sure that your character stood out away from the archetype set from the original?
We didn't watch the original.
You never watched the original?
No, I'm not going to say never. I think we're all very familiar, but for whatever reason, we weren't by the way, I live with an original fanatic of the show, my husband and his brother. That was their show. I missed it because I was on tour when How I Met Your Mother was having its huge moment. Super familiar with all the characters, and I think we all were highly intimidated, at the thought of having to replicate that and fill the shoes. And so, from day one, the creators of our show were just this is nothing like the original. We're borrowing a lot of really important, obviously, storytelling tricks, and flash forwards and flashbacks are obviously a huge part of our show, which was a huge part of the original. But our show is very modern and dealing with a lot of amazing topics that are current in our landscape. But I think that, just knowing that we could be ourselves and bring our own essence to the characters, and they're going on their own adventure, and this is their own friend circle, with just, some important little nuggets dropped in there for the diehard fans of the original, is a very playful element. But I don't think that, any of us feel the pressure to have to live up to the title, because it's its own show.
Yeah, I think that what would have been a disaster for everybody is if when casting How I Met Your Father, if it was okay, who's going to be our Ted? Who's going to be our Robin? Who's going to be our Barney? I think that none of us would do nearly as good a job at playing those characters as the original actors. So why put ourselves in a position to do that? I think what Isaac and Elizabeth and Pam Fryman did a really great job of is sort of creating these different dynamics with different characters with different personality traits and flaws and virtues, and letting them play in the same sandbox, but I don't know, with different toys or something like that. It just feels like we get to
Lots of different toys.
A lot of different toys. We get to borrow, I think, from the original in a really fun way. We get to use that when it serves our story, but we're not beholden to it, which I think allows us enough leeway to kind of really do whatever we want to explore our own dynamic. And already, after just one season, it's just amazing to see how much we've all grown and how much these characters have really settled into a really organic camaraderie. It's just a really cool thing to watch, and it feels very much our own.
I'm not going to repeat the wonderful things that they just said. I would have said the same things.
What do you hope to see happen to everyone? I mean, Chris and Hilary in particular, your characters, there's obviously a connection there, but there's always that sort of story about How I Met Your Father. How do you play against, is Jesse the one or not?
Anyone can be the one, and it's every time I'm describing it, I'm but we're not The Bachelor, because it's not like that. But I think that there's always some sort of an opportunity or a need to leave a door open, without seeming like you're overstepping boundaries, and I think the writers are just going to have to continue to lead Sophie in the right directions there. Not that she's always going to make perfect choices, because obviously we want this to reflect real life experiences that people obviously make mistakes and whatever. But I think her journey is, the opportunities open with a lot of the cast, and Ellen is the father. So you know,
That's well, you just gave it all
That's
away.
what
Yep.
Ellen
Tell everybody
has
you know, Billy.
Ellen has a rose ceremony, and
I'm in for that twist. Like, I am so down for this twist. Like,
Right?
it's.
Yeah,
I
that'd be
mean,
awesome.
Tien,
I would be awesome.
you're like Tien, like, representation, queer representation in sitcoms is rare. It's getting better, but it's definitely still rare. How did you feel about taking on like something like this and in a lead role as well, not even like as a side character?
I mean, it's very exciting as a queer person in real life to get to play someone who's queer, who's part of the friend group, who doesn't have to, you know, come out or have any sort of storylines that are based on her trauma is one, so refreshing, so cool, and also just like what life is like. And I think it's just so great that Ellen gets to.
Please say baby gay again. Please say baby
Yeah.
gay.
Ellen is such a baby gay, which I find I was too. And it's a very unique and also wonderful story to get to tell, that she is, you know, in New York City with her friends and going through the same trials and tribulations as the rest of her friend group. And everyone is just loving and accepting of each other, full stop. There's no ever punching down on what's happening between them, which I think should be the norm and isn't. But I love that she is a part of a growing list of queer characters across TV and film that is getting to just live their life.
Amazing. I mean, now you've said it, I feel like I should start like the Sophie Ellen ship. I'm gonna make that a thing. I'm sorry, Chris. You're out.
Don't be sorry.
Please,
I'm
no,
on board for
please.
that. That's my vote too. All I was going to say to your thing before about just this sort of will they or won't they with Sophie and Jesse, that I think is something that will really allow these characters to continue engaging with each other in some capacity for however many seasons we're lucky enough to work together, is that, you know, love is a major part of the success of a relationship, and so is timing. And I think that, you know, certainly, like, I'm sure all of us here has had relationships with not all scumbags. Like, I've dated plenty of beautiful, wonderful people, but just the time in our lives when we met, you know, wasn't exactly, it just, the timing just is everything. And I think that it'll be really fun and interesting to explore where these people are, when they meet, when they connect, if the timing is right or if it's not. And I think that's, you know, just true to life.
I think it'll be like heartbreaking, you know. I think that
yeah, it is heartbreaking,
the
right?
roads that will, you know, the times where, you know, obviously, you know, Sophie and Jesse are going to get together, you know, and I'm sure it's going to fall apart, and I'm sure we'll revisit it again, and then it's going to fall apart, and it's like,
what scripts are you reading? Wait a second.
Yeah, what's going on?
Get together, fall apart. I mean,
Wait, what show is this?
She's on the 2025 scripts. Is what it is.
I gotta read these season 2 episodes.
yeah. That's the 20 season 2. You know, lots of opportunity.